So first off, I want to welcome you. My name is Scott Simon. I'm Vice Chair of the Maltz Museum Stop the Hate Committee. I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight to learn more about this year's program. Obviously, this year is a year like none other, and the Maltz Museum has done an incredible job in creating a program for you that I think you will really enjoy and find tremendous value in. Tonight, we're going to be hearing about the annual Stop the Hate contest, some new classroom workshops, and an online Stop the Hate tour. So again, if you have questions, please add them into the chat box, and there will be a Q&A at the end of tonight's session. And just to let you know that tonight's event will be recorded. So as many of you know, the Maltz Museum is a museum of action, where people of all ages and backgrounds come together to learn about the history of bias and discrimination in order to recognize and prevent hate in all of its forms in the present and in the future. Now, in a normal year, the museum opens its doors to as many as 10,000 students who participate in student tours, the most popular one of which, by the way, is the Stop the Hate tour, which, as you will learn, you can access now for free digitally. Also, each year, approximately 3,000 6th through 12th grade students participate in our Stop the Hate contest, using their voices to speak out against bias and discrimination while competing for a chance to win $100,000 in scholarships and prizes. To date, we've actually given out $1.2 million in awards. And for any of you who have been to the actual Stop the Hate contest event, I don't think there is a way to not be inspired by these incredible students who are speaking out. So let's take a moment to watch a short video and meet a few of the inspiring students who've participated.
I cannot remember a time where I could just be.
My parents' love couldn't follow me to school, couldn't protect me from the sticks and stones of my peers.
You're pretty for a black girl.
Is it true that Africans don't know how to read or write?
You are not normal.
Get out of my seat, you weirdo.
She's just a math nerd.
What in the world are you wearing?
Hey, India, shut up.
I was bullied very badly.
I am no stranger to bullying because I am autistic.
Then the bully started laughing.
I laughed it off and changed the subject.
Well, their words didn't break my bones. They almost broke my heart.
What was so different about me?
Made me feel as if I didn't belong.
Why didn't I stand up for myself and my culture?
Since I came to the United States, nothing has been easy.
The U.S. famously coined the Great American Melting Pot.
My parents are U.S. citizens, and I was born here.
Yes, I am an American citizen.
I was being judged for being an Indian who happened to be Catholic.
I am Arab, and because of that, some people look at me differently. The stereotypes, the excluding people, the hateful comments, I didn't think I could fit in anywhere.
Standing up against injustice and intolerance can be a lonely endeavor.
A lot of children with learning disabilities get picked on.
Even colliding into them without an apology.
They started to call her curse words.
They called her name, stole her diary, and read the personal things she wrote to everyone during lunch.
I decided to stop
the hate.
I thought that'd be hard, but it was actually really easy.
I am committed to making a difference. You can respond to ugly things with something beautiful.
Sometimes it's not the big acts, but the small ones. They can make someone's burden a little lighter.
Talk to someone you don't know. Eat lunch with different students.
If someone was being picked on, grab a friend or two and tell the bully to stop.
I told him there were people trying to drag him down and to keep his head up.
Every challenge in your life turns into a lesson. My life so far has taught me many lessons.
Lessons I will forever have with me.
I learned the importance of standing up for one another.
I've learned that you can't judge people because you don't know them very well.
I have learned to advocate for myself and others. I will not let my hearing loss or the negative behavior of others define my life.
Most important of all, I have learned that any hand held out to others is perfectly formed.
If everyone spreads these ideas, we could stop the hate.
One day, we can all just be.
So, as I'm sure you probably could have guessed, the students that you just met were last year's top 25 finalists from the Stop the Hate essay writing contest, speaking to us in their own words. And how inspirational is it to hear what these incredible young people not only have done, but have said. The contest has always been the flagship program of the Stop the Hate program, but this year we asked educators how we could best help support them during uncertain times. That's why we not only expanded the contest, but created a digital learning opportunity that brings the Maltz Museum into the classroom. It can be used whether students are at home or at school. And offering these free resources is our way of saying thank you for working with us to stop the hate in Northeast Ohio and beyond. So I'd like to take a moment to introduce the Maltz Museum staff that has done such an incredible job. They've reimagined the program amid the pandemic, and I'd like to introduce three of them to you. I'm sure they'll wave as I introduce them. First is Dahlia Fisher, Director of External Relations. Next is Courtney Krieger, Manager of Education and Outreach. And final is Shober Hammer, Education and Outreach Coordinator. And I'd like to now turn the program over to the amazing Dahlia Fisher.
Thank you so much, Scott. We are lucky to have you with us. And this is an exciting time for the museum. We appreciate you being part of all that's happening. We really, truly couldn't do this without your support. So thank you for being here, Scott. And thanks for all you do. And hello to all our friends who have joined together to learn more about our Stop the Hate program tonight. Thank you for being here as well. My name is Dahlia Fisher, and I'm going to take a few minutes to discuss how students and educators can participate in the Stop the Hate contest this year. So new this year, there are 2 tracks, one for songwriting and one for essay writing. The songwriting track is exclusively open to classrooms or homeschool groups with at least 15 students. And the essay writing track is, as it has been, for individual students. And I'd like to tell you a bit about the Youth Speak Out essay writing contest now. It's in its 13th year, and the essay contest invites 6th to 12th grade students to pen a personal essay in 500 words or less about bias they've witnessed or experienced, and share what they've done or will do in response. So any 6th to 12th grade student may participate as long as they live within one of the following counties: Ashtabula, Cuyahoga, Geauga, Lake, Lorraine, Mahoning, Medina, Portage, Stark, Summit, Trumbull, or Wayne counties. And to enter, students respond to an essay prompt. This year, the prompt is in honor of the memory and spirit of the legendary civil rights leader and human rights activist, John Lewis. He famously said in his autobiography, Walking with the Wind, a memoir of the movement, "I believe in freedom of speech, but I also believe that we have an obligation to condemn speech that is racist, bigoted, anti-Semitic, or hateful." So in 500 words or less, we invite students to think about their own lives. Have they witnessed or experienced acts of injustice, racism, bigotry, discrimination? How were they impacted by what they experienced or saw or heard? What did they do or will they do to create justice and positive change? Essays are submitted online through an official entry form. The portal is currently open. We have already started receiving essays, which we're excited to share, and we hope to hear from all of you. The deadline to enter for grades 6th through 10th is March 19th, and for grades 11th through 12th is March 26th. The main difference between the essay writing and songwriting contests is that students enter as individuals for essay writing, and they enter as part of a class for songwriting. And now I'll turn it over to Courtney to share a little bit more about that process.
Thank you, Dahlia. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Courtney Krieger, and together with Shober Hammer, we manage the day-to-day program of Stop the Hate. So I want to tell you, like Dahlia said, a little bit about the Youth Sing Out songwriting contest. Some of you may have already heard about it. It's over a decade. I believe we've been having it for over a decade. And so what we do is we have the the schools write a song with a teaching artist from Roots of American Music. Then they perform it at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What we have new this year, and I'm very excited to say, that the schools now are able to, in any of the 12 counties that Dahlia spoke about, they can participate now. This is new this year, so we're very excited, and we hope that all the schools from these counties, 6th through 12th graders, can join us in our songwriting contest. That is a big new thing. The other thing that we've always had, like I said, we've always had a Roots of American Music workshop where like the teaching artist would come in and help the students write a song. Well, we're very excited to say that that has worked out so well, the workshops, that we decided to also have workshops for the essay writing track. As Dahlia mentioned, there's 2 tracks. The You Speak Out essay writing track, which I'll talk to you a little bit about later. Right now, what I'd like to do is an overview. I'm going to share my screen. I want to tell you a little bit about the overview. Can everyone see this? I hope. Here is our I want to make sure I have this. This is our website, learn.maltzmuseum.org. If someone could write that in the chat, please, that would be wonderful. This is the go-to, okay? If you have questions about the contest, the workshops, the dates, anything's due. We also have educational materials for the educators and for individuals who would like to know more. So this is what will happen. Step 1, you will either choose, again, I'm talking to the educators here, the Youth Sing Out Songwriter Workshop with Roots of American Music. That is for classrooms only. So students out there, if you're interested, please let your teacher know about this. Then there's the other track, which Dahlia mentioned, the Youth Speak Out Essay Writing Workshop with Lake Erie Inc. I'm going to tell you a little bit about both tracks. So let's say you choose the Youth Sing Out Songwriting Workshop. The first thing you're going to do, actually I would say with both the essay writing track and the songwriting track, you're going to take the Stop the Hate digital tour in both your tracks, which means, and I'm going to pull that up for you. Here is the learn.maltzmuseum.org website. I hope you visit this afterwards or soon. You, as a class, will take a digital tour. So here's the link. It says take a digital tour, Stop the Hate digital tour. I'm going to click on that. Just to
Courtney, I'm so sorry. I hate to interrupt you. We're not seeing your screen.
Oh.
Sorry to interrupt. There we go.
Oh, no.
I know. Thanks for sharing. Thank you.
Whole time.
I know.
Thanks for saying something.
Thanks for sharing it. Thanks. Didn't mean to interrupt. Please continue.
Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. Okay, so we are going to have, just want to let you all know that the Lessons of the Holocaust tour will be coming soon. But right now, if you're going to be taking these 2 tracks, you will have this amazing Stop the Hate digital tour. And what we've done is this, again, this is from the Maltz Museum. These are objects, not all, but some, from the Maltz Museum. And the classes this is based on object-based learning. You'll take an object, okay? And you're going to talk about what we see, what we know, and what we wonder. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. By all means, you can do that later. But I do want to let you know, educators, there are optional activities that can get the students thinking, good prompts. And even students, you can go on individually yourself. So now I hope you can see that. Am I good, Dahlia? Okay. So this right here, you're going to take both tracks. You'll be taking the Stop the Hate Digital Tour. If you choose the songwriting track, you will have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's Power of Music and Protest online experience. And Catherine from the Rock Hall will be talking about that later. If you choose the essay writing workshop, you will not only take the Stop the Hate Digital Tour, but your class will see a video of a local Holocaust survivor, and there will be a question and answer with that survivor as well. After that, you will have a workshop. Again, as Dahlia mentioned, the songwriting track is with the entire class. So the entire class will have a teaching artist from Roots of American Music that will help guide the students and create their own song. They will submit the teaching artist will submit the song, and the judges will be selected in partnership with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And winners will perform, guess where? At the Rock Hall stage. That's very exciting. Then for the youth Speak Out, the essay writing contest, a teaching artist will come in from Lake Erie Inc. and will also guide the students on how to write a personal essay. We'll help them with prompts, and we will learn more about both workshops a little bit later. And I want to just make sure, I'm not going to go into it, but I want to make sure everyone knows that on the website, learn.maltzmuseum.org, there are wonderful awards, anti-bias education awards for schools, teachers, and of course our students. So that is extremely important to know. Okay. I hope now you can see me. So I want to thank everyone. I'm going to turn it over to Cynthia Larson. She is from Lake Erie Inc., and she is the education director who will be telling us about the workshops for the essay writing contest.
Okay, my headphones just stopped working. Can you hear me now? I had to switch to my phone, so just give me a second here because now I'm multitasking in a big way. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna just tell you a little bit about Lake Erie Inc. Can everyone see my slides?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, all right. And briefly give you a couple of thoughts about the writing and how to write a good and powerful essay. So first of all, if you haven't heard of us, Lake Erie Inc. is 10 years old this year, and we provide creative writing and creative expression opportunities to the greater Cleveland community, which has gotten even greater in recent times due to the fact that we've all had to go online. We envision a community where youth discover their voices, share their ideas, and inspire each other as valued participants. That is why Stop the Hate makes a lot of sense for us. It seems like a really valuable way for us to explore creative writing with youth in our greater Cleveland community. Our values are that we believe in the transformative power of creative expression. The voices of youth are at the center of what we do, and we are committed to openness, collaboration, and accountability to youth and the communities we serve. We try to be a force for good, a force for community, a force for inclusion, a force for justice. I want to show you briefly who some of our staff are before I go into a little bit more about how we're going to be working with schools during this program. Michelle Smith, Aaron Babcock, Trent Bailey, Aaron Horan, Cordelia Eddy, Damian McClendon, Amber Gray, Amy Rosenbluth, our executive director, and me, Cynthia Larson, the director of education. Okay. How we can help your students. We believe that writing should be fun, and we do our very best to motivate and inspire your students to have fun with writing. We teach them new strategies like drawing a comic before starting to write, and we guide them through the full writing process. Our goal is to help them create an authentic and powerful story and help them then experience the power of revision with an audience of their peers. That is one of the key parts of how our workshops work and how they work well. So how do we do this? We work first to build relationships with students and between students so that it creates a safe climate to explore ideas and share writing. We share effective mentor texts. Those will be both poems and essays, and we are mindful of student needs and experiences. We provide activities for diverse learning modalities. So if a student has trouble writing, we might encourage them to draw first. And we respect student experiences, voices, abilities, and ideas. Here's some students at New Tech High School who I worked with a few years ago on Stop the Hate essays. I've also been asked to share some tips for finding a powerful story. First of all, I believe in the power of brainstorming. And brainstorming means that you put your ideas out there without judgment. People don't comment, people don't criticize. You try not to self-censor, and all the ideas are welcome. So we work very hard with students because once you've found the right story, the essay will begin to write itself. We ask students to consider different roles or actions in multiple experiences. And if you don't work with us, we would encourage you, this was a large discussion during one of our staff meetings, to talk to them about their actions rather than their identities. So instead of, I am an upstander, ask them to think about times when they stood by. Our staff had trouble with the word perpetrator, so we came up with the phrase, I acted unfairly. And again, another thing to think about with roles is not only to focus on the victim roles. It's easier sometimes for students to think about the victim role, and it's easier for teachers to think about the victim role, but there are so many different experiences of injustice and discrimination that we try to open that up when we're working with students, and we encourage you to do so as well. Also, remember that everyone has a story to tell, and give students the final choice of topics so that they feel comfortable exploring and sharing. Some other things that we would encourage you to do when working with your students are first, build a good foundation by using the Maltz Museum resources. They have some amazing resources that you're going to hear more about, including a learning progression that has some powerful tools that you can use. Give students time to discuss. I know that many students are online, but some of those breakout rooms and the tools that you can use in breakout rooms, give them a powerful way to explore these ideas and concepts. For pre-writing, have them draw or list the sensory details from the experience so that you don't have to hear them talking about how they don't have any ideas or see that their full essay is only a half a page long. Use free writing to get started. Go fast, be sloppy, don't look back. And take time to share the story and reflect on the impact and action after they've written the first part of their essay. We also believe at Lake Erie Inc. that students are their own best audience. So have students share their work and respond to each other's work, because we feel that that builds the fire in them to be better writers and better communicators and speakers out in the world, and focus on the big picture, not mechanics. This is what Stop the Hate sessions would look like with LEI. We would spend one session on each of these topics and hopefully be done in 6 sessions. We can also tailor that depending on your schedule, so you can get in touch with us and we can talk to you more fully about that. I wanted to end with one thing. I wanted to share this poem written very recently by one of our teen Evening Ink workshops. It was 2 days after Ruth Bader Ginsburg had died. Be notorious for your kindness and patience and respecting people's rights as you wish yours were respected. Be notorious for disrupting the status quo, looking at the way things are but seeing them for how they should be. Be notorious for questioning, for looking at the fine print and reading between the lines. Be notorious for wondering what happens on the other side of the story, or in the next chapter, or in the prequel. Be notorious for seeking out the missing pages and double meanings, and most of all, the truth. Be notorious for standing up for what is right and voicing your opinion when the room is silent. Be notorious for rooting yourself in outlandish words and ideas, reaching ever taller as your roots grow deeper. Thank you for giving me a chance to meet with you, and I look forward to working with some of you later. All right, who do I pass this to?
We'll go to Jason Myers with Roots of American Music.
Hey everyone, thumbs up if you can hear me. Terrific. Hey everyone, my name is Jason Myers from Roots of American Music. I'm the executive director at Roots of American Music. We're so excited to once again be working with the Maltz Museum and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and super excited to have Lake Erie Inc. On board with us again this year. Courtney, as you said, we've been with this program for 10 years now. And before I became executive director in July of this year, I was a teaching artist for the last 5 years. So I can personally attest to the power of the Stop the Hate program. So if you don't mind, I'm just gonna give you my personal point of view and kind of what I've experienced over the last 5 years being a part of the program. I've really seen, I've worked with a lot of classes, and what I've really understood is that the students gain a better understanding of their peers in the classroom, but also as the world or their community as a whole. And one example I want to share with you, I worked with a school on the near West Side, international newcomers at Thomas Jefferson. And this is a school that welcomes families from all over the world. Many languages spoken in this school, and I was scared going into this as a teaching artist because I didn't know what to expect. I can tell you that by the end of the last class that we did, we had a song written in 5 different languages: Swahili, French, Portuguese, Spanish, and English. And it was so interesting to me that the students came together through all these different languages to understand each other through song, but then really that music is what pieced together the words and the lyrics and really drove that message. And I feel like that's a big part of what this program is really about. So that's kind of that's one personal story of how powerful this program is. And I became friends with a lot of the students in the class, as well as the teachers, and we've kept in touch since. And my Swahili is getting a little bit better day by day, but I'm still not that great at it. But I'm trying. Getting into the kind of how the program's going to work this year, we're going to have 3 classes. So for each class, we're going to have 3 different classes with them. The first class that we have with them, we are going to review the Maltz tour, and it's going to be a requirement that everybody looks at the Maltz tour beforehand, and that they also look at the presentation by the Rock Hall. And that first class is really the icebreaker, where the teaching artist is going to speak to the students and say, hey, what did you take from this Maltz tour? Tell me something you remember. And from there, the teaching artist can kind of communicate with the students and start the conversation about what they want this song to be about. And what happens usually by the end of the first class is that you usually walk away with a hook, a chorus of some sort, an idea of where this song is going. On the second class, we really start going into the song. Of course, this is all new to us this year, so it's going to be a little bit different, but we're going to really be working with the teachers and asking them for their help and getting the students involved and getting ideas for the verse and chorus. And then by the third class, the song is complete. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to finish it up, the verses, the chorus. And on the fourth visit, there's actually 3 visits, but on the very last thing that's going to happen is the teaching artist is going to record this song with the students' lyrics, and the song will be complete. So it's a very exciting process. And one of the really cool things that I want to mention as I finish up here is that in the past we've had this final performance at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And one of the coolest things that I've noticed watching the students perform at the Rock Hall, if it's we'll say Shaw High School performing, and Cleveland Heights is out in the audience, and they're watching everything go on. They clap for each other. They encourage each other, and I have no doubts that this year is going to be any different. And that's something else that I think is incredible about this program, is that all of these schools and all these students are encouraged to support each other. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Catherine Klussman at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Jason. That was the perfect segue. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, great. That was the perfect segue. The youth sing out, both the middle school and the high school ones that we've hosted for, I believe, the last 5 years at the Rock Hall, have always been really special days for us. It's incredible to see what these students have been working on with the teaching artists leading up to it, and then to finally be able to perform, not just in front of the other classes at their school, but like Jason said, in front of some of the other schools. And it's amazing to see how these students relate to each other's songs. They have been learning similar things throughout this whole process and coming together to write about their experiences and the injustices that they've seen and speaking out against it. And it's really neat to see the wide variety of just what the songs cover and what the students really want to focus on during that. And that's one of the reasons that the Rock Hall is really excited to participate every year, and one of the reasons we're thrilled that even with everything having to be virtual this year, that we can still continue on. So part of that experience of performing was they would also get to visit the Rock Hall, and all the students who visited the Rock Hall during their performance time, their performance day, would get a presentation by our education staff about music and the power of protest and the role music played in the social justice movement, as well as other protests, even current day ones and things like that. And so what we've done this year, like the Maltz Museum, is we've turned everything virtually. So we've utilized our portal, our Rock Hall EDU portal, which I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see that. Can everybody see the Rock Hall EDU portal? Great. So the Rock Hall EDU is an online portal that any educator can use. It's completely free. You do need to sign up because we do have artifacts and playlists and things and videos in there. So there's some copyright rules that we have to follow. So you do, as a teacher, educator, or even parent, you do need to sign up for a free account, but it is completely free. And then what you'll see on here is you'll see tons of resources that you guys can use in the classroom. It's snippets of videos that we've created about Aretha Franklin's song Respect. There's a music and motivation playlist. There's writing prompts and a Bill Withers essay and a research guide about the great Nina Simone. So there's tons of different materials in here that can be used. And so I just want to go over a little bit of how, for 1 second, how you would share one of these materials with your students. For example, if you wanted to take this Aretha Franklin song Respect and share the song with them, what you would do is you would generate a temporary authorization link. This would be a link that you would then be able to send to your students and have them access the materials. Because with the copyright laws, we do have to have login information, and we can't with underage students, we can't have their same data and things like that. So what you would do with any of these items that you'd like to share, whether it be a writing prompt or a playlist or a video or information about an artifact that we have, you would create this temporary link, and then you would just send it to your students, and it would give them access so that they could dive into it on their own or utilize it for their own experience. But what this collection will do, our Rock Hall EDU program has a wealth of topics, but what this Stop the Hate Youth Sing Out collection that we've curated specifically for this will do, will really walk everybody through the power that music has, as we all know, to empower people and bring people together over a common goal or a common injustice that people are experiencing, and then take that and be able to then funnel it into their songwriting experience. So like Jason said, what's going to be really great about it this year is typically they got their session at the Rock Hall at the end of their experience after they wrote their song, which was all great and fine, but one of the things that's actually going to make their experience even more beneficial is they'll be able to dive into this platform and these resources and materials and videos and things like that prior to meeting with their teaching artists. So they'll be able to really start to really understand the importance of that songwriting and the lyrics and what music has done for the social justice world for several decades now. So it's going to be a really great experience. We're always here if anyone needs help navigating the system or anything like that. We're happy to help, but there's multiple pages, and we're constantly, another great thing is that this is live, so that our education team can actually constantly be adding new materials and artifacts and resources for you to use in your classroom with your students, or for you to send your students so that they can dive into things on their own. So that's the general the overview. Just reminding everybody, you will have to make a login. If you go to this page independently, you'll see a couple things, but you really won't get the full depth of the catalog unless you are logged in. And with that, I believe I'm turning it over to Shobar.
Hi, everyone. I am Shobar Hammer, and I am here to help you get booked for a workshop. So the booking process for this is very simple. Educators, whenever you're ready to get started, or if you have any questions, you can reach out to me at education@mmjh.org, or you can fill out our interest form on the Stop the Hate Learning portal, which I'll show you in just a minute. The main things that we'll want to know from you are your name, contact information, your school, the workshop that you'd like to take, obviously, and then the grade, subject, and number of students who will be taking the workshop. To book, I'll send you a contract to review. We'll just need your signature. And then we have a quick pre-program survey for both you and your students. After that, Roots of American Music or Lake Erie Inc. will reach out to get you started with your workshops. And if you're doing the essay writing workshop, I will also be able to help you schedule your Holocaust survivor talk. I want to show you real quick where you can find more information. So we'll go back to the learning portal. And then if you head over to book an online workshop and scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll find our interest form, which you can fill out to either book or request more information. That comes straight to me. And then I also want to point out real briefly that if you'd like any more information about the contest in general, just head over to Enter the Contest. And here you'll find a description of both the Youth Speak Out essay writing contest and the Youth Sing Out songwriting contest. And for both of these, you will find the submission portal for essays, important dates and deadlines, submission deadlines especially, and then your rubrics and judging criteria. And then with that, I think I'm gonna head it back over to Scott Simon.
Shobar, thank you so much. I know you're probably as blown away as I am, all of you, about what the staff has done to take this program, which has been a hallmark in our community, and actually, in a way, I think make it even more powerful and accessible to people in Northeast Ohio. So huge props to them. I think as people have been asking questions, they are being answered in the chat box, but I would welcome anybody who has any additional questions to add them to the chat box and we can address them. There was a question to Lake Erie Inc. about whether educators will the educators be involved in the writing process or providing feedback and editing of the essays?
Yes, we are involved in the editing. I think of our peer editing workshops as one of our signature strategies for creative writing. And what we usually do is we try to have an adult facilitating each small group. Students share their work with each other. That would be virtual, so hopefully pulling it up on a Google Doc and also reading it out loud. And then we ask the other students to give feedback, and they know already what the feedback should be. It's about what is most effective and powerful. Is there anything confusing? Do you have any questions for the writer? Is there anything that needs to be added? So we talk about kind of big picture revision, and it's kind of an amazing process during that time. Kids who don't think of themselves as writers suddenly see themselves taken seriously by their peers, and it really, really builds confidence and motivation to go back and work on it.
Cynthia, thank you. That's terrific. There is a question about whether the workshops are going to be held in person or virtually. I can answer that one and tell you that the workshops are going to be held virtually. Let's take a look and see if there are any additional questions. Is it possible to participate in both the songwriting and essay writing contests? Could someone at the Maltz Museum address that?
Sure. So you can do both as long as your teacher or the educator at the school has scheduled a classroom workshop for the songwriting. Then students can also participate independently as an individual essay writer. But the only way to participate in the songwriting workshop is in a group through either a homeschool group or a public or private school organization. So essay writing can be, a workshop can be done, and you would still submit your essay to the contest individually. Does that answer the question?
Okay. Thank you, Dahlia. Here is another question. How many workshop sessions will be held with the students?
Jason, do you want to talk about how many Roots of American Music has?
Yeah, so for Roots of American Music, it's going to be 3 classes, 3 classes total, and then the teaching artist then records the song based on the lyrics that the students came up with, but it's 3 classes total with the students.
And Cynthia?
We have the program set out as a 6-hour program. Some teachers are reserving 90-minute blocks though, so it might be slightly fewer sessions. And during that time, we try to cover the entire writing process as well as kind of building on the foundation from the Stop the Hate digital tour. If you need something slightly different based on your school schedule, you just need to talk to us about it and we'll try to make it work. I did see another question in chat. I'm just going to go ahead and answer it. It's about the latest day you can schedule or sign up for the essay portion. The deadline is middle of March, right? I think. So
middle of March for entry to the contest itself.
Yeah. So you can sign up until you don't have enough time to get your students through the process. I would recommend trying to commit soon though to getting it on the schedule, because we are filling up pretty well and scheduling into January and February right now.
So I'm going to echo that and add to that response that everything that we're doing, all the workshops that the museum's offering in partnership with Roots of American Music and Lake Erie Inc. and Rock and Roll of Fame, everything is free. And so it's free to as many classes as we can fill until our funding is used. So if we book everything out through March in the next 2 weeks, we would have a waiting list. If we're still open with slots to go at the opening of March and there's opportunity in those 2 weeks to book, then we would still be able to book. So my recommendation would be, if you're interested, you know, put in a call to Schober and start the process of thinking through when you might like to do it, just to get on the schedule.
Yeah, I want to, before we answer another question, I just want to let educators know, I'll put it in the chat as well. We have listed the Ohio Learning Standards for each of the workshops, each of the tracks. So I know that's crucial and very important for you. So I want to make sure you know that, and we have that on our website as well.
Okay, we have quite a few more questions in the chat. So I'm actually, Dahlia, would you mind if I asked you just to take a look at some of them, and as opposed to me sending each one to you individually, take a look at a few of them and answer some last questions. We're at 5:51, so we have about 9 minutes left. I think
Sure.
probably you can answer a bunch all at one time.
Okay. The Lake Erie Ink workshops and the Roots of American music workshops are all hosted online and through Zoom. Thumbs up, correct? We're all using Zoom. If there's a detail or an issue with that, I'm sure we could work with you individually on a school platform, but right now our intention is that everything will be happening over Zoom, and there's expertise there in working with the kids in that capacity. It looks like.
Dahlia?
Yes. Hi. Go ahead.
We're also prepared to use Google Meet. Some school districts are using Google Meet, not Zoom. Some were using Teams, but they seem to be abandoning Microsoft Teams rather quickly. So my fingers are crossed that I don't have to really learn how to use Microsoft Teams that much, but we're flexible.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm just scrolling through now. Sorry, Scott. So one of the questions is about individual students needing to sign up for the contest, or does the teacher need to do so? You do not need a teacher to register you to participate in the contest. For over a decade, students have been participating individually in the contest. The awards are individual, although at the highest levels, schools are also awarded with sometimes thousands of dollars. New this year, I wanted to share, there is a educator award for both the songwriting side and the essay writing side. There'll be 2 Teacher of the Year awards. And in addition to schools receiving money and students being able to access funds. And every school that participates will receive funds for the following year as anti-bias education grants. So any school that participates will receive money, whether your student is a winner, so to speak, or not, because in our minds, we're all winning by working towards anti-bias education. And we want to encourage students and schools to more deeply engage in the following year within their own environment. So there's a $30,000 pot of money that would be split by all schools that are participating, whether it's on the essay writing side or the songwriting side. And what I wanted to say is that if a teacher, and I know there are several who have been doing this for years, participates in the contest and uses either the digital tour or learning progression, somehow engages in this in a classroom, we want you to let us know, and we will also honor that process. Anyone that's doing classroom-based work in the school with the Stop the Hate curriculum and program is eligible for school funds towards anti-bias education grants the following year. I just wanted to share that as well. But students are welcome to participate individually in the essay writing contest, as they have for the last several years. And Shober would be able to answer more questions about any of those details as well at maltzmuseum.org/learn. Okay, let's see. Do classes, did I miss where? Wait, oh no, I missed my spot. Where were we? Do schools have to apply for the grant money or prove they just used the curriculum? There is no formal application. You would submit and let us know how many students you are working with. Shober can help you with that process. She manages all of our intake forms and the distribution of funds on the other side. And so there's a form, and you would have to complete the pre and post survey as well in order to access those funds, but there is no formal application. And okay, I'm going to throw this next question to our our partners, do classes have to participate in the full 6-hour workshop in order to participate in the writing contest? I guess that's really for Lake Erie Inc. Do you want to answer that quickly, Cynthia?
If you need something different because of your schedule, just talk to us about it, and we'll talk to Shober at the Maltz Museum, and we'll see what we can figure out. Okay?
Okay, thanks, Cynthia. I think, did we answer? Are there any
other
Are
last
there any
questions?
other questions before we wrap up?
And I'm sure the staff would be happy if questions come up afterwards to receive an email or a phone call from you. I'm sure that they will want to be helpful in any way that they can. And with 4 minutes left, I think I will just lastly again compliment the incredible staff at the Maltz Museum. For them to take a program like this and expand it and make it available to all of us virtually is wonderful. And I guess I will also speak on behalf of the Maltzes who I've gotten to know over the past few years and whose vision is behind this program, that when we see and experience hate, discrimination, bias, that we should be speaking up, standing up, and celebrating those who do. And that is what they have done for so many years. And so I want to make sure that they're recognized as we all participate in this great program. I thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you again to the staff. Have a wonderful evening, and together, let's stop the hate.